Wide receivers, I gave a grade of D plus or C. That's where I graded them. That's what I see. And a lot of it is the bright spot came with Rashee Rice. Rashee came out there. I think he did a great job catching the football, kind of getting open. He had some bright spots. I think we seen like, oh, wow, okay, here's Rashee Rice getting some catches, getting some targets, which was great for us. It was really good for us. It's very promising going forward. And so that will absolutely make an argument. Hey, these young guys need to get out there and start playing even more, right? Maybe some of these guys that we don't quite trust maybe get out there and play. But also, too, Rashee Rice looked like a rookie. He looked like his timing was off a little bit, running the routes. His routes wasn't as crisp but a lot of that is him being antsy. This is his first NFL football game. So I know there's a lot going in his mind. He's playing in Arrowhead, a full stadium, on Thursday night. Everybody's watching. All of that's going through his mind. But he did have a bright spot. Made a touchdown on good spacing in that pass. And also too, so we talked about KT, right? And I said, put it on here, KT looked like he went like he didn't go through practice, like he went through preseason. And I said that same thing. He just looked like he labored a little bit. Now, one guy I want to kind of talk about is Skyy Moore, okay, and where he was for the entire game. And my assessment, and I'm taking a lot of this from what I've seen, and I've just me playing myself, talking to guys. I know how this is when you're second year. It's almost like there's certain guys that allow themselves to be great. I think Skyy Moore hasn't quite freed himself up yet for that. He hadn't quite freed himself up just to play free, go out there, try to make mistakes, just go out there and just play. I think he's still kind of measured in everything that he's doing, not necessarily getting open. But as soon as he gets to that point where he's able to just open his mind and figure everything out, I think he's going to be a star for us, to be honest with you. But I think he's still kind of trying to fit his role, right? How do I get into this whole fit of things? So he just needs to be comfortable. He just needs to be comfortable, and I think we'll get a lot out of him. And then everybody else was kind of so-so, right? Just so-so in that wide receiver room. It's a team game. It's a team sport. So not one person loses the game for the entire team. It just doesn't happen that way. And so I think that's very important to say that because I've seen a lot of people just kind of put everything on Kadarius Toney, and not saying that he didn't have a hand in it. I think everybody had a hand in it. To be honest with you, everybody could have done something a little bit different. You could ask every single player on the Chiefs, what could he have done different in this game? And everybody would have an answer. I don't think not one person would be like, well, I mean, I played a perfect game. I couldn't have done anything better than what I did. Not one guy would say that. As a professional, there's always something more that you can do. It's always room for improvement. You always know there's a play that you could have missed or you could have made that you feel like could determine the outcome of the game. But that's the reason you have guys like that have this mindset. You do. You have a mindset that you're a winner, you're a champion. Being Super Bowl champions, you're saying we have enough, we could get this thing done, and they just fell short.
Yeah, and that's the thing about football. That's the thing we love about football. Yeah, there's 22 guys, offense and defense, who can control the outcome of the game. It's not one guy. You can point to specific plays, but there's still a lot that goes into all this stuff. And yeah, you're right. A lot of people try to pretty much place the blame on Toney. And then you also have on the other side of things, people said, "Oh yeah, look how good our defense did without Chris Jones. We don't need him. Don't sign him. Trade him." So you have a lot of that going around. And people just now are also saying, like, I think what's his name, Mike Evans could be a guy that we can go after, even though Bucks said they're not trading him. And if you just look at that, the guy wants a lot of money for an extension. We didn't want to get DeAndre Hopkins because we don't want to pay him, and we're having trouble paying Chris Jones right now. So like, it's one of those things you just can't just say, oh, we're going to go with Mike Evans. That'll solve the problem. No, because there's also, you have to look at the playbook and how hard that is to kind of comprehend the middle of the season for a guy coming in who did have a training camp. You got to think about that, take that into account. And also just the money aspect of things. We're not going to get a guy for a rental. We're not doing that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think it's what it is. It's the money part of it. We were already in a dispute with Chris Jones to try to sign him to a long-term deal. Then bring Mike Evans, and Mike's going through it with them, Tampa Bay. But there is really a reality there about having older guys on the team. especially with this young group of receivers. And I think it's one of the reasons me and you, we made this point a lot about D-Hop being in. Talking about D-Hop was an experienced guy that could come in who could teach these young guys how to be wide receivers, great professionals in this game, how to deal with maybe some of these ups and downs that they may see. And that's significant, especially when you have a room like that where you're looking at the oldest guy in the room is MVS, And so it's very important how these guys respond to, some of the problems and issues that they had. But yeah, look, it's one game. These guys are going to get better. And look, I'm going to make this point too. The way that we've seen the young guys develop in the secondary last year, and everybody was, oh my gosh, look how bad they are. Why did Spags put in this position? These guys are just going to grow. I look at it maybe like we get around about week 4. These guys should be humming. I think they will. But yeah, something that needs to be said about veteran presence, no doubt about it. And I think that's why we were so high on D-Hop or getting a veteran receiver in here that could really help with the toolage and the developing these guys to deal with the NFL. And a lot of it, what I seen on Thursday was impatience. Maybe route running was not as crisp as I thought it would be. Antsy. These guys, a lot of guys first NFL game, and it showed. So I think if they just kind of settle down, take stock into what it is that they want to do out there on the field, these guys, they're going to be okay. But we're going to have growing pains. That's the reality of it. Like I said, a secondary development to, this great secondary in postseason. And so I think these guys are going to develop. We just got to give them time to develop, to make these mistakes, right?
Yeah. And if you look back to what Brett Veach said shortly after training camp was over and after all the cuts, he talked about Justyn Ross and Rashee Rice, how they're going to have specific packages, but I see them kind of getting more acclimated into the offense second half of the season. So not just specific packages, but second half of the season kind of getting more growth and development. So even these guys are the young guys. It's going to take some time for these guys to get really fully immersed in the offense. And then for people to expect that week 1 right out the gate, it's a lot to be said. I mean, to expect these young guys to just come out right out the gate and continue what they were doing in preseason.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot to expect. And it's even big to expect when we talked about KT not really having any type of preseason games and getting healthy. And I'm gonna make this point. When I watched him in practice, I know everybody was showing like, oh man, look at KT, he's ready to get back. He looked like he was laboring a little bit on that leg. I know it's because I watch how I play. I'm watching how guys' gaits, how they move it around. And he seems like a guy who, if you're not fully healthy, you can doubt yourself. You can have some doubt in like your route running. It can be a bigger issue. You may try to get it out of your mind, which you can. I'm not saying you can't, but also too, you'll start feeling, especially you start, dropping balls and whatnot. That leg starting to get a little bit more heavier. You may have a little bit more pain. There might be some pain still, lingering in that. That's why we were talking about maybe week number 2 might have been the ideal time for him to come back. But it's good, I guess, this game, get it out of the way. He's got some work in that will take care of like the preseason, where, he wasn't in, he wasn't involved. Maybe this game coming back would be a much better game for him.
Yeah. And also to talk about that, just based on what you saw in some of the clips during practice, but like there was the third and short play where it was the jet motion, the handoff to him.
Yeah.
Looked, I was like, whoa, what is that? It looked like he got re-injured there. He just didn't look right. And Andy Reid actually said today at a press conference that he takes blame for Toney's performance. He mentioned he missed all the training camp, was encouraged by what he saw in practice this past week. I probably didn't put him in the best position. The only way we're going to get him back is by playing him. I think you'll see better as we go down the road from him. So I think he knows that he was kind of rushed back in with Kelce's injury. They were like, it's going to be a limited snap count, but then Kelce gets injured. It's like, you know what? KT looked pretty good this week. I think we can give him a full go.
Yeah. Well, look, man, hey, that's big on Andy because he knows it. He said everything we just said. We were just talking about that because remember you was asking, do you see him coming back from meniscus? I'm like, listen, I've had a meniscus, and it takes 4 weeks, and even then he has to get acclimated to the speed of the game. That ball coming off of Patrick, man. Look, that speed coming off, he hadn't seen it in a while. Running full speed, catch it in the game, and I'm talking about, man, when preseason. Practice is a whole different speed than game speed. It really is. It really is because everything is all for the marbles. You're going to get hit. You know, you're going to get tackled. And so I think all those things played a part. Andy recognizes that now. You know, we were talking about that before. And so, yeah, maybe they rushed him back. I think they did, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Kelce's injury sped up that process, I think. I think there was like, oh, man, he's hurt. He's out this game, but don't worry, we have Toney. And beginning of that game, he wasn't getting full load. And then as the game kind of went on, like, you know what, he's all right. Let's keep him in there. And he pretty much stayed in there after like the third drive of the game. He stayed in there pretty much consistently after that. The PFF released their grades from that game, and Kadarius Toney had the lowest receiver grade in the last 5 years, based on his performance on Thursday. I've seen a bunch of different numbers here. Some stats have us that the team charging us with 5 drops. Kadarius Toney hit 2 of them. I saw another stat grade that has having 8 drops. 4 of them were charged to Kadarius Toney. But I don't know, anywhere between 4 and 2. 2 is too much. But the one interesting thing, I know we can crap on Kadarius Toney all day, but the one interesting thing here that not really getting talked about enough is the Next Gen Stats did a statistic this morning. They released that KT averaged 3.1 yards of separation on every route on Thursday night, which would have put him top 25 in the league this past weekend. Yeah. So and this is interesting too. He averaged more yards of separation than Tyreek Hill did. And Tyreek Hill had an amazing game last night, which is interesting that this stat comes, you know. But separation was a big deal for us on Thursday night. A lot of our guys, everyone said, oh, why is Pat holding the ball so long? Because he was waiting for guys to get open and they weren't doing it. And he was one of the guys that did that. We also had another guy who got in the top 50 of average yard separation was Rashee Rice, who you mentioned, who had 2.7 yards of separation on average on Thursday.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you about just overall KT. Do you think, I know there's a lot of talk in the offseason how Mahomes and the team feels like he could be the #1 receiver with this team. Do you think that he could still be the legitimate #1 receiver, or you just think that he's just another one of the guys that we have, a weapon that we have, not really necessarily the #1?
I'll say yes. How about we just get KT healthy? You know, really. You know, because we go #1. Look, he has all the, you know, athletic ability in the world to be that guy, to be a #1, okay, or #1 and 1A, 1B, whatever you want to call it. The thing is, he needs to be healthy. Okay, it's the availability, you know, and then this right here having this whole, you know, meniscus deal, set him back. And I think that's what it is we're talking about the availability. It's hard to become a #1 if you're always hurt or you have, you know, these lingering issues. Okay. And I feel for the guy. I want the guy to be successful. I really do. Because I know he's a weapon. And I think, you know, separation, everybody, you can figure different things out. PFF, they, you know, quantify every little thing. All right. What does that mean? Well, you could just say, you know, KT is a pure receiver than Tyreek Hill. You could say that, right? Tyreek Hill uses pure speed. Okay. Does that mean anything? It doesn't mean anything if you don't catch the football. I don't care how much you separate. You could be 10 yards open. Doesn't matter, right? Rashee Rice dropped that one. It was wide open, and, you know, he drops it. Doesn't matter. It's just about making plays. You got to make plays, pure and simple. This is what this business is about. The business is about making plays for you to be employed. So what have you done for me lately? And this is what the fans and everybody looking at what KT has done lately. My thing is let this guy get healthy, give him some rest that's needed. He comes back and he's healthy and plays, you're going to see a whole different Kadarius Toney.
Yeah. You know, it's intriguing the fact that he's clearly not 100% right, but yet still averaging in the top 25 as far as yards separation per route. So that's intriguing. The guy's having healthy, and he's still getting 3.1 yards separation on route run.
And he's got ability, you know, ability. He's got that quick twitch in him. He's got it in him, man. There's no doubt about that. So, hey, man, now we just get him healthy so he's fully comfortable, okay, so he can actually play the way he's capable of playing, all right? But I'm looking for the other younger bucks to get in and get some reps too. Rashee Rice, Justyn Ross, these guys in there as well, man. These guys in there well.
Our guy Justyn Ross got the only target of the game for him, but one catch, the little comeback route, like 6 yards.
Yeah,
I was excited. Yeah. I thought I was starting to get him more touches, but no, I think he only logged like 8 snaps in the game. So they're going to get him more acclimated, hopefully.
And my eyes is like his saucers. I can see all of the receivers' eyes like that. Most of them. MVS only when I see him was like, hey man, it was whatever. Him and Justyn.
And he didn't get targeted enough. MVS didn't get targeted. 2 targets, 2 catches. That was it.
Yeah,
crazy.
Something's got to change about that. I don't know what's up. I don't know what's up with that one. But
yeah, too many just 9 routes. Guys exhausted. Just send him deep every time, running off as a defender.
Hi everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.